Seriously, bro.
Oh, it says it's live on my end.
It says offline. Just drunk discussion is streaming. Oh, wait, there we go. There we go. All right, cool.
I hope it doesn't do that again. That would be pretty annoying. All right, let me try switching between scenes real quick. Oh. All right, we're back. Yeah, it's working.
You tell me when you're ready. You ready? Oh, we'll be right back. Going to take a piss.
No, that was me. Don't worry about that. We'll just keep an eye on it. If the stream goes down, we'll figure it out.
I'm gonna mute this in the meantime. All right, cool.
Go for it.
I'm back. Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whenever the fuck you listening to us. This is Drunk Discussions, and I am Paul with Connery, your two favorite hosts. And we have a lot to talk about. A lot of things happened while I was gone. I did listen to the other ones, that with Colin and Logan. It was fantastic. Connor, you guys had some interesting topics, and it kept me going through my vacation.
Bullshit. So, we know the booze and the women kept you going through your vacation.
Nope, just booze.
Talk about it.
Fuck that. But hey, so here's the big thing. We went on. We usually do cruises because we're all divers in my family, right? We're all certified. We're training to be instructors. We're doing everything we can when we go on vacation is dive oriented. So our first stop was in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and we didn't do diving there because the DR is a little difficult, some choppy water sometimes. So we went and did the waterfall excursion, which was surprisingly fun. Then we went to St. Thomas, did some diving in St. Thomas. It was good. We did a beach dive into their channels, which was fun. Got to hold some sea cucumbers, some crabs. See a lot of life barracuda, but it was a little cloudy compared to normal. But I tell you, we went to Tortola. It was gorgeous. Tortola was absolutely amazing. I got to meet some of the divers there that work with a nonprofit organization that I was going to promote for them because the work they do is incredible. It's called Beyond the Reef, and they work to help restore reef ecosystems along with any animals in those areas that need rehabilitation, whether it be Huxton turtles, whales, all kinds of things. So I'm repping their merchandise for this, guys. So if you have any questions or you want to donate, just look for Beyond the Reef for them, and we can hook them up with their nonprofit organization. But yeah, a lot of diving. It was a good time. I didn't get to lay out in the sun, and tan up like I wanted, but it is what it is. I got enough while I was down underneath.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good time. It's always good to get the fuck out of Ohio and actually get the fuck out of Ohio. I think that's probably the best way of putting it.
Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about it, but we'll see. Wherever life takes me is what's supposed to happen.
How is life though, Paul? It's been 2 weeks since you've been gone.
Since I've been gone. Yeah, I was listening to your guys' podcast, and while I was gone, it felt like all hell broke loose here, right? We're having aliens getting shot down by Russia and America. We're having a train explode in my state here in Ohio and derail. It just feels like when we were gone that we were, we're on our own little island, no pun intended. We're on our own little area and it's okay. Ohio can burn. I'm not there right now.
Yeah, no, everything started burning though when you got back. Like Texas had a derailment. There's warehouse burnings going all over, chemical plants burning all over.
Pipe bombs found on railroad tracks.
Pipe bombs found on railroad tracks, which I think is just some hardcore. I think it's the same people are probably just drunk rednecks.
Who knows? But we have a lot to get into and to dive into today. And I'm happy to be back. I missed you guys. And I guess we'll just roll that intro.
Let's roll that intro.
What happened was we got caught up in a drunk discussion, and then he burned the bacon.
Where we talk about everything and know nothing.
You know what I mean? So it kind of seems like a win-win-win.
Here's Gerald.
Telling everybody I'm dead.
Just draw a dick on it. It's not offensive. It's a dick. Everyone's got a dick nowadays.
Dude, tell me more, because I don't know anything about it.
Oh, a flapper's a 1920s dancer, you motherfucker.
Got a lot of bagels. I like my bagels. Chug 30.
Cheers. Salud.
I mean, this shit's free. Monday morning. Chime on in.
Tranquility Base here.
Discussions.
The Eagle has landed.
And then he burned the bacon. We're back.
And then he burned the bacon.
So yeah, you're back. Anything crazy happen while you're down there? Anything you see in the sky while you're up on the boat? Anything crazy?
No, I was looking though. I was like, I'm in the plane. I'm gonna see if I can see anything, or if I'm out at sea, if I see anything. No, a lot of openness, beautiful stars. Nothing out of the extraordinary that we normally talk to. Like if there was something, I would have been like, "Yo, you have no idea what I have saved for the next podcast."
How much weight?
Just wait.
How much weight did you put on?
Actually, I lost weight, dude. I didn't eat that. Okay, so cruise ships have changed a little bit. Since the 2020 and 2021 with COVID. Before that, cruises were like, you could gorge yourself.
Right.
And to an extent you really could. But this was the first time I was on a cruise where portions were like proper. And I made it a goal of myself not to just gorge myself. I've stuck to seafood. I try to stick to healthier options. I think I had dessert 2 times the entire trip. So I actually ended up losing weight, which I was happy about. And then, I came back, and some work buddies of mine have been doing this push-up challenge and stuff at work. So, you know what? I'm just going to keep it going. Keep it rolling. I've been eating better.
I'm proud of you, dude. I'm proud of you.
I know.
You look great. You look like you got some sun. Italian Stallion is back.
It's true.
To the land of the fucking albinos.
Yeah, I know. I'm darker than you, and you live in Florida.
I was at the pool today. Delaney, first time, second time we've been in the pool, but we bought this little pool float. Tell you what, it is fucking adorable.
So, having a daughter,
yeah,
that is, her father and mother are both extremely white and blonde.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to just coat your baby in like sunscreen like no other?
So, you won't believe it, but my child actually has a better tan than I do. She got my wife's genes. So Lauren's got like that Australian blood, so she tans gold, no fucking problem.
Right.
But she's got like a red pigmentation to her, but she's got yellow, and I have like a red pigmentation to our skin. So
Well, that's the Irish in you, buddy. You're not used to sun.
yeah, no, like this is how I pretty much look year round. And I go out in the sun every day, but having an office job doesn't help.
See, I get way darker than this. Like much darker than this. This was just barely in the sun and a diving tan, which diving tans can be brutal because, the water, if you're at the right level with the magnification of the water, you can burn. I did get some sun. Like I did turn red. On an average, our average depth was about 45 feet.
Oh, okay.
So nothing crazy.
No.
Was our average depth. There are some times where I went deeper. I think my deepest total log dive was when we were in Tortola. And we were at the Indians, which are 3 large, pretty much jetting out of the ocean columns. And the reef is along the side of the columns going down almost into the abyss is what it looks like. It's incredible. The life that we saw there, it was great to see the difference between the American Virgin Islands reefs and the British Virgin Island reefs. Because the Americans, we're destroying our reefs, plain and simple. Like I could see a vast difference between the two.
How long? That was the U.S. Virgin Islands that you were at, correct?
2. No, I went to both. I went to the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is St. Thomas, and the British Virgin Islands, which is Tortola. And there was a vast difference. Like we really need to start caring for our reefs. It's not.
What was it like? Janky teeth with the British, and ours were kind of like just basically gone.
Theirs was gorgeous. They had the most beautiful fan coral. Their corals were healthy. The fish life there was much more diverse. I saw eels and turtles and all kinds of stuff. While when we were in the U.S. Virgin Islands, it was just a lot more barren. And that's why I brought, this hat and everything for the stuff they were doing. When I was talking to them, our dive masters and everything, and the work that they do. Majority of their time is for this nonprofit. Only a select time are they actually like taking experienced divers out and like going to reefs and stuff. But the problem is these like touristy dive ones where you don't have to do like any training. They'll just take you out. They're the ones that people are like picking stuff off the coral reefs. They're the ones that are hitting it while they're diving because they're not experienced. It's just we really got to we got to focus on our reefs, man. We do. We have to.
So you would say that a good general outlier, like we all know British is kind of crumbling too, especially Brexit and things like that. But you could look at the U.S. coral reefs as a good analogy into how shitty the country's falling apart.
I'll tell you a different. It's funny because like when you land in St. Thomas, it's America. Like there's McDonald's, there's KFC, there's Papa John's, there's like fast food, there's America. It's the shit that we have here, there. Tortula, different. I mean, it's the native people that are working there. We're talking to the dive masters in order for people to get like fetuses granted to this area.
Fetuses?
You have to have a visa, like a work visa, permit visa. You have to have a very niche job that is not required for them, or like an islander can't do in order for you to get approved. Like their whole ideology is like they want the locals to have those jobs, not people coming in for their jobs, which I respect that. I do respect that. But the dives in general, like just the water clarity, the fish diversity, the coral reef was way better in the British Virgin Islands compared to the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Well, it sounds like pizza's here. So I guess we have food delivered. But anyways, sorry about all the barking. We didn't ask. What are you drinking on?
Actually, I just grabbed some Blood Oath that I had left over in my little flasky flask here. So we're gonna do a little toast.
I got some anniversary tequila that my wife bought me. Look at this. It's got like a glass cap on it with a little sun.
Makes it.
It's a Cala Rosa Tequila Rosa Blanco, and it's made in Mexico, which is good. Tequila Selecto Diamantian SA.
Don't even try Spanish. You're terrible at it.
Yeah.
Don't even try it. You're
It's-
just butchering that beautiful language.
It's about as Spanish as it gets, but it's really cool. It's delicious. It's super smooth.
I was gonna say, does it taste good?
This
I
is
was at,
actually good tequila. This isn't like mixing tequila. This is.
There's definitely a difference in tequila. I've noticed. I'm not a tequila drinker. A buddy of mine last night at the bar actually switched it up and got it some tequila shots. I almost fucking died. It was gross.
Yeah.
It was a hard one to choke back. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm back to my bourbon. I missed it. I'm done with rum and tequila during that vacation because that was rough.
Well,
So
cheers,
cheers,
buddy.
everyone.
I will say though, you're not
American
wrong.
bourbon.
The moment you left the country, everything started fucking going haywire.
Right, and I want to talk a little bit. I think you want to talk a little bit, and we have more in-depth conversation that we can do now over the stuff that has occurred. I know that you were wanting to get into that a little bit more. So, like, what do you have that I missed on everything? We'll start with the derailment. Obviously,
Yeah.
you went into depth the most the last podcast I was listening to on that, which was impressive. But all I was getting was like mushroom clouds, videos, and like people saying like, "Oh, DeWine's meeting with the President Biden to talk about safety regulations if we're going to get any relief fund, anything like that." Turns out we didn't get jack shit, like not a damn thing.
Well, yeah, Biden. So he came out and said that DeWine didn't want him coming. Said it wasn't worth it, and he went ahead and went to Ukraine instead. So we should probably change East Palestine to East Ukraine. You can't. What are you doing, bud? There you go. You're back.
I had a fucking itch on this hat, not gonna lie.
Yeah, you can't have an itchy hat. It's
I know.
It's like
It
an
was
itchy
irritating
rectum. Yeah, it'll do that. It'll irritate you.
That's why you have to use 2-ply.
Yes, or lube. So you have so DeWine said, "Hey, Biden, don't come." So Biden went to Ukraine. I made a
Right.
joke. Let's change East Palestine to East Ukraine. But we had a TikTok go viral. Well, kind of viral.
I saw that. It was like 100,000 views.
Yeah, I think it's at 110,000 views, a few thousand likes, a lot of comments. It was pretty cool, but it got edgy. Like everyone in the comments.
You took some shots, my guy. I was like, oh, I'm not there to be devil's advocate. This is just Connery unleashing.
Yeah, so I went off on a few people, which it was more or less just ignorant cunts is probably the best way of putting it. Which I could have been the ignorant cunt there, but I said it in the video 3 times. So for those that don't know, I made a TikTok video talking about Chinese propaganda. I was talking about their Twitter, and I logged on to a VPN, and I went ahead and essentially just found a bunch of information that China is putting out there and the residents are talking about on their Twitter, right? Obviously,
Right.
it is propaganda to an extent. Some of it could be true, but I said in the video 3 times, I said, here's a map of where they're saying the fallout's going to reach from the burning of all these chemicals, the groundwater situation, and rain.
That's what's crazy to me, because when I was watching it, their map, right, and what they're saying, they're like, "Oh, this is worse than Chernobyl. This is the worst ecological disaster the world has ever seen." And I was like, "Really? We dropped 2 bombs on Japan. That was pretty bad." But
Yeah, I mean, they're saying it's worse than Chernobyl. They're saying it's worse than Nagasaki. I mean, they're saying it is, when it comes to what man-made has done to not only destroy the environment but also harm a lot of people. Yeah, this is fucking bad.
So let me ask you this. So I didn't get a lot of the information, and a lot of it's been kind of like gone now. It's like wiped. Like I tried looking up stuff and I couldn't.
There's
So was
a
it the
lot of weird
EPA?
things.
I know, but was it the EPA that said, "Okay, burn it"? Because like it wasn't originally on fire. It was a chemical spill,
So
and they're the ones that deemed it necessary to light this shit on fire.
yes, and the reason why. So vinyl chloride actually turns into a gas at 7 degrees Fahrenheit. So on each tanker, and that's why they transport it in a fluid form, because they can transport a lot more of it than if they were just to transport the gas. So they cool it down to the point it's a liquid. Now each tanker has a pressure release valve on it that, as the temperature builds, it does gas off a little bit of it. Now
Right.
the problem is when you have, fires nearby, the temperature of those tankers are going to rise, and it just started expelling all of it, right? Because the pressure was just blowing up in it. So rather than having it explode and just blow liquid vinyl chloride everywhere, they went ahead and said, okay, let's burn it off. Now, to give people a little bit of context, the River Leslie runs there along the Pennsylvania-Ohio border. And
it runs into the Ohio River, correctly? Or correctly.
No, it's downstream.
doesn't.
Or it's upstream of the Ohio.
Yeah, but the stream runs into the Ohio River, which runs
It
into
more
the
or less
Mississippi.
runs into like other tributaries in the East Coast, right? However,
okay.
rainwater is kind of another thing that you're talking about. So all of this is expelled into the air. Well, anyways, getting back to the TikTok. So I posted that, and a lot of people got really pissy. They're like, or they were really, really scared. I was like, you need to
Very much
understand
so.
English. Now, I didn't get banned for that TikTok. I got banned for another one. I'm unbanned. Yep.
What did you get banned? Wait a second. That's the one I thought you got banned for.
No, that one actually they left up because I did say in the video 3 times, this is Chinese. This could be Chinese propaganda. And I also had it written out. So everything I was saying, whatever that's fucking called, I can't remember it. Captions. I had it captioned. So I was like, look, even if you're fucking deaf, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're blind, you know what I'm talking about. You can hear it. Well, a bunch of people are also just fucking stupid, apparently. Believed it, tried reporting it. I appealed, and it just blew up after that. Absolutely blew up. I was like, holy shit. In 2 hours, I have 80,000 people that have seen this video. It was pretty cool to watch that go down, but I learned a lesson. And the lesson is, it is so easy to manipulate people.
Right. Absolutely.
On a deglobalized platform like TikTok, it is so easy to manipulate people. And I sent you guys a video of Biden and Trump having Tucker Carlson and Biden. And it was AI,
Oh God.
facial movements, AI speech, and obviously it's not somebody saying it, it's somebody that typed it in and it's saying it, and every mouth movement, everything's the same. The only issue is the coherency. It's not the same pattern of speech. So if AI starts nailing that, there's going to be a easy way to destabilize a government or people in general.
Economy, people's, yeah.
On a deglobalized
Absolutely.
platform. But that's more Slurspiracy. The TikTok that got me banned, I got unbanned, but I was talking about Handbill 991 that just passed in Florida. And I can't.
Oh my god, that.
And now that I realize I could actually get banned for it because people are upset about it, I'm like, oh, I don't even want to talk about it on Twitch. But at the same time, like, just look up Handbuild 991 in Florida, what they're doing. And I get it because a lot of people drop those defamation words, if you will, so freely.
And they might not even have any backing, or I get it, I do.
Yeah.
But at the same point, now you're enabling the other people too.
Correct.
Enabling both of them.
Um,
And that's just as wrong. I mean, as in a generation that grew up with Family Guy and South Park, how are we so offended by everything?
American Pie, literally any other
I don't get
movie
it.
from 2002 to 2008.
No idea. It baffles me. It's like, okay, you're upset and offended.
I think
Want a
it's
cookie?
I
Cool.
think it's
We all are at something.
I think it's the kids that didn't watch that shit though, is the ones being
The younger
upset.
generation.
Like
Yeah.
just a 5 to 8 year difference between us, Paul.
See?
Between those kids is a huge difference.
Mom, I know you watch this, and you told me not to watch that stuff as a kid. I bet you're happy I did now.
You could be a little bitch. But to give people an example of what HB 991 is, the Handbill 991 in Florida that just passed, if Paul was to call me, and he knows I am the least racist person out of his friend group, probably.
I have no racists in my friend group. What do you mean? That is not welcome
Athena's racist.
in this friend group. Okay, well, she was beaten, and she just doesn't like people of color. Okay, that's not my fault. I rescued a dog that's racist. All right.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so if you were to call me racist, Paul, I could technically sue you because I live in the state of Florida for calling me racist, even if I was to say something extremely racist. Now
Here's my thing, though. If you catch it on video of them actually being
doesn't
that way, what?
look it up. It's called the Bigot Act, is how some people are referring to it on Twitter. Yeah.
My God, Twitter. I bet Twitter's having a field day with that.
Well, and I cracked a joke, and the joke was, retirees are already making, they're retired. They don't really have to
I
make
saw
more
it.
money
That's the one that got you banned.
because I called old people that. Yeah, I was
Well,
like,
you do live in a state with majority old people.
oh man, and they were in the comments hardcore. What's funny is, I'd say a good 50% of the old people had caps on their phone and they don't know how to turn it off because they're so fucking stupid. They just saw a young white guy and they're like, you know what, Sonny? This is freedom of speech America. I can say whatever words I want. I was like, yeah, you
And
can.
I mean,
I can
to
still
an
call you
extent-
that though for being that,
I know, but to an extent, this is taking away freedom of speech. And I get it. People are like, hate speech isn't allowed or whatever. But like, I don't know. I'm gonna play the devil's advocate here and just be like, you know what? If we want free speech, that's all speech,
Right.
and you just got to learn to deal with it. Be a grown up. Be an adult. Like, some things you hear in life, you're not going to agree with or like. Tough tits. It's life. There's a lot of things I don't agree with, and I have to just deal with it. We all do. So I mean, this is kind of, in a sense, yes, they're trying to, like, I don't know who passed it to Wine, put it in, or whoever put the bill in, but it's almost like they're taking bits away from free speech, even though they're trying to counteract
the First
whole
Amendment's-
ideology of it.
The First Amendment's basically gone, dude. When you had reporters being arrested outside
Yep.
of East Palestine,
East Palestine.
that right there in itself should have been a massive federal investigation.
It was before that, though. We've talked about it. Do we not remember me getting so irate over 9/11? Reporters were arrested then too, in front of the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So I mean, this has been going on since the early 2000s, and it's like slowly but surely our rights are being chipped away, and people are okay with it. They're like, oh, it's for safety and security. I'm sorry, but like, no amount of safety and security is good enough to take away your legal rights.
Well, I mean,
Not.
the one thing that I can say about the older generation, which is something that I truly appreciated about them, if anyone knows me, I do live in Florida, but there is a specific, it's like saying, let me give this example before the old people get upset about it. Okay. There's white people and then there's white people. You know what I'm saying?
Like, mayonnaise is spicy, white people.
But I'm talking like these motherfuckers wear the same pajama sets. They do the Christmas photos with the dogs. Like, it's cutesy shit, but they're like white people. You're like, oh, you're suburban white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like,
now that I've
smacking the back of their tailgate, going, "Yep, that ain't going anywhere."
well, I do that.
Exactly.
I'm white, but I'm also like generally I'm not. If I see something stupid, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking do that. Whereas other white people are like, no, let's go into the woods when there could be a murderer there. You know, that's not me.
Or let's wrestle an alligator and throw it through some lady's window. Did you get that when I said that to
Yes, you did. Yeah, I was like that, and I did say that's an appropriate response. You fuck up. Look, you fuck up my order. I'm gonna throw a baby crocodile at you. Fuck you.
It's hilarious. I was like, that's the most Florida shit I've ever heard.
For starters, you know, I want to know if there was intent. Like, did this guy purposely have a baby crocodile just to throw it at somebody? Or did he happen to stumble upon a baby crocodile earlier in the day and he's like, I can take this home. It'd be a pet. You know what? This crocodile probably liked chicken nuggets. And then the bitch messed up his chicken nuggets. And next thing you know, guess what, Croc? You ain't getting chicken nuggets. Fuck this bitch. And he throws
You know
the
what's
crocodile at him.
hilarious? You know what's hilarious though? He's not only getting charged with assault, he's also getting charged with what is it? Interfering with an endangered species. Since it wasn't an alligator and it was an American crocodile,
Yeah.
he's getting in trouble with 2 charges instead of just 1.
They
Like, you could have found just an alligator and been fine. Like, Floridians should know the difference between an American alligator and a croc at this point.
You should. You look, and if
Yeah.
you don't, get out of Florida. Okay.
Get out of Florida.
Mind you, I've definitely killed alligators. I've not killed a crocodile. It's illegal.
Yeah, but you legally killed alligators.
I did. I had a
You
permit.
can't do. You just can't go hacking around baby alligators and crocs. You just can't. They have to be a certain length.
But you can with
Or weight.
anacondas. So there's that.
Well, yeah, that's an invasive species. These are natural species occurring in the wild, though.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the dumbing down of the world.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the world though. It's definitely the U.S. And
That's debatable and up for argument. That's definitely up for argument. And the only reason I say that is, I mean, I feel like I'm well traveled to an extent of most people or the average American, and I can tell you this: there are people that are stupid all around the world.
yeah, but
But I put it this way: America's the greatest, right? We're the greatest.
we're the biggest.
We have the
stupid.
smartest, and we have the dumbest. We have the fastest. We have the slowest. We have the healthiest. We have the fattest. Like, we go to both spectrums. There's no just middle. We're just both sides.
I think we need a melting pot of average. I think
Well,
America needs to become a little bit more average.
We are a melting pot of everything, culture and music and everything. We are a melting pot. And that's why I always have the argument on a lot of things of when that's a different topic. We'll get into it later. But I wanted to cover back to East Palestine. So
yes.
and everything. So when I got back, and I guess this could be a little bit of a slurspiracy. I don't know. We were gonna get into one later. But I started seeing, what is it? It's Norfolk Southern, right? Is the train company that is getting scrutinized from this, correct?
Yes.
So I saw a lot of stuff that they're in charge of infrastructure of a lot of their railroads. And there's more and more pictures coming out of bridges and overpasses that are being held up with chains or, makeshift ways to hold these things together while there's a multi-ton train going over it. And that's just scary in itself because you are having one accident when in reality there is way more potentially about to happen just because the infrastructure of our railroads is declining and quickly.
Well, and I said this in the last episode or two. The railroad system in the United States is some of the oldest forms. It is the oldest form of still in use transportation to this day in the country's history. Of course, it's going to be fucking falling apart. The problem is you've got all of this. It'll get into politics because it always will when it comes to something of this nature. Is the lobbyists? The lobbyists are saying, you know what?
Right.
We're not going to increase. Here's some money. Don't vote on this bill to make sure safety regulations go through. And guess what? They didn't go through.
I guess it's both sides' fault on this. It's just annoying to me when we're pushing safety and security in so many other realms of our public influence, and then we don't do it on something to this magnitude with our rail system. I mean, there's more rail systems throughout the United States than there are roads. So, I mean, people don't realize that oh yeah, look it up. I looked it up too because it baffled me. Now, not all of them are in use, but there are more miles of railroads than there are of actual roads.
Now,
how many are in use? That's different. But
how big's a train?
It depends on the train, the model, so many different things. Are you talking like total length of cars?
Well, I mean, typically
Or-
you have a width on two sides of about a foot, foot and a half on each side, and then 4 feet in
You-
the middle. So
you know where that comes from? Do
wait,
you know like how our standard railroads were designed?
I don't
Like,
think
you know how- you know where
I
that
don't
came
think
from?
I don't think you got that joke.
Oh no, let's hear it. What's your joke? It wasn't funny, obviously. But
No, you have about a foot and a half on each side, and then what, 3 to 4 feet in the middle?
yeah, sure.
How big's a train?
I don't know. Oh,
There
okay.
it is.
That would be how wide's a train, wouldn't it technically be?
I mean, as wide as they are.
No. A little fun fact here. Do you know how we got the standard width of tracks today?
No.
Okay. So the standard width of railroad tracks are the same in Great Britain and into the United States, which is kind of crazy, right? We actually use metric system measurement when we first came over during our first railroad systems. The width of the railroad system is the same width as the carts used during the Roman time. And people are like, well, how? Because the modern day rail system in Great Britain was laid over Roman tracks or Roman roads. And where the carts would fit into, or their wheels would fit into, is where they put the standard width for their train cars. And we just took that same width over here when we came to America. Once trains were established and everything, we took the same measurement, same thing. So like our modern day rail cars are the same width as the Romans used for their horse and trolley or whatever, back then for their roads.
That is quite
Fun
fascinating.
little fact for you.
It's quite
Yeah, it's a
fascinating.
little crazy. But I guess the biggest thing is what I also saw. I saw that here near Philly and somewhere in Kansas that they found some pipe bombs on railroad tracks. Now you made the comment like that's probably some good old boys, but we don't know who put them there. But for them to find this after this incident, there's been a lot in a whirlwind of conspiracies going around. Like, is Norfolk Southern purposely doing this? Are they trying to get insurance money to? Like, there's so many different things flying around the air right now, and through the internet, as I should say, over why this happened. Do they think it's going to happen again? And I was going to ask you, do you think this is something that was kind of intentional?
If we start talking about this, we need to have a shot
All right, let's do it.
and go into Slurspiracy.
You know about the movie I was going to bring up, don't you?
Yeah, the white noise.
Yeah. It's just weird, man. It's just weird to me. Well, shot first. Cheers to
shot.
everyone.
I have to watch.
I
White
guess
Noise.
we're going to. I haven't watched it. Wait, it hasn't come out yet, has it? Or it's been out?
It's
out. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been out for a while now.
So, White Noise was filmed in a town
East Palestine.
called East Palestine, and some of the people that they used as like extras in the background lived in East Palestine, and it's a movie about a train derailment and a chemical leak in a town called East Palestine, and it was filmed in East Palestine.
Do you know the year by chance when it was done?
Um,
I want to say the filming was in like 2000 and
So there's
18?
there's a lot of things that are going on. For starters, for people that don't know, there was 5 privately funded environmental scientists that were hired to come into Ohio, privately funded. So somebody paid for them to come and do air quality tests and water quality tests in East Palestine and the surrounding areas. That plane happened to crash, and all 5 died. That's
wait, what?
kind of a Clinton situation.
Oh my god! So White Noise was filmed in July of 2021 and was released in 2022, and then you have the actual accident in East Palestine, very similar to the movie in 2023. So I mean, that's like bang, bang, bang. Which again, a lot of people in conspiracy theory minded groups are like, yo, like this coincidence? I think
Yeah, it sounds like White Noise essentially is about an airborne toxic event releasing a noxious black cloud over the region that forces this family to evacuate. So it's literally verbatim what happened.
what happened.
But there's so many things that I am so uneasy about with this situation. The scientist
Like what?
dying, huge red flag. Now, with Norfolk Southern's primary holders of stock are BlackRock and Vanguard. Now,
Oh, here we go.
it's not surprising.
Here we go.
None of when it comes to BlackRock and Vanguard owning something, that isn't the surprising part. Now, a lot of the issues came from media coverage, right? Well,
Right.
they also own the media, which is one of the reasons why they're like, look, we don't want this to get too far out in the media because we're going to have a huge stock drop. Now, the pipe
Right.
bombs, things like that, you're telling me there is more railroad tracks than there are roadways in the United States. Okay. How many fucking pipe bombs are on
Miles.
Okay.
Miles of railroad. But yeah.
So you're telling me out of all of these miles of railroad, somebody found pipe bombs? Like,
Right.
that's that right there. Bullshit.
But
like, you could
what
hide that
if
so
this-
easy.
What if this happened and they're like, oh my God, we should probably go investigate some older railways before something like this happens? Which
So-
I would hope. I would hope
You're-
that they would go around and start doing more infrastructure and more, investigation into these areas. But in all reality, it was probably some good old boy that called it in. They're like, there's a pipe bomb on the railroad.
Yeah, and they just wanted their 5 minutes of fame, and they never even got mentioned in the news.
Right. I mean, it's just a lot. So like that all happened while I'm gone. I'm seeing videos of like they're saying the ozone's burning up in a big black cloud, and you're like the plane's flying over, and it's like broad, bright as day. You see this. And my question is to, I guess, to the EPA. EPA, you're telling me that burning this toxic fume into our atmosphere, potentially burning a hole in our ozone, polluting, having acid rain and everything, was a smarter decision than just like letting it soak? I mean, like that's my question. Like, where
So
does it burn off and turn into another chemical? I guess is my question. Like, was there a chemical combustion where if you light it, it changes its makeup and it's healthier?
no.
Because I mean, this is a hazardous material, no matter which way you look at it.
So if you don't burn it off, the problem is you're going to have a lot of leaching and the gases are going to rise, right? So if it burns off,
Right.
it does create a different chemical. And it's vinyl or hydrovinyl I don't know.
It's okay. Take your
I
time.
had it.
Don't
I
hurt
had it
yourself.
earlier. I've already, I didn't expect to talk about this to this extent, so I don't have it pulled up.
No, you're good.
But yeah, so essentially you burn it off and it does create a chemical that's more or less associated with mustard gas, right? So they're essentially mustard gassing a lot of people, and there's been reports over in Maine. There's been reports over in New Jersey.
Oh, the birds. Yeah, I saw that.
That was from lightning, which is common. It happens all the time.
Good to know.
So there's a few things that have happened that are people like, oh no, this is obviously just a train. No, there's quite a bit here. Like, some things that I did see though is paint being stripped from cars. Yeah, no, that's definitely probably it, because it does create a carcinogenic rain, a cancer rain or acid rain. So it's not good for your skin. It's not good to breathe in. And it's definitely not good for the groundwater. But you look at a majority of Pennsylvania and Ohio in those areas, they're not on city water. They are on well water. And when you have all of that chemical that's not only spilled into the ground, but also into the sky, it's leaching into the ground reservoirs of water.
Right. And I mean, I guess did they deem it was safer to burn and like have the rainwater collect into these wells than it was just seepage?
I think so. And I honestly think it was handled, when it comes to how they reacted, I think it was handled decent. Looking at it, 15 miles away, there is a nuclear power plant. So when I was researching, once I found that out, I started researching how they would react into the event of a nuclear meltdown or, different issues going on. It's the same way that they reacted with the train derailment. So I definitely
right.
think it correlates that, yeah, it's 15 miles away. When it comes to hazard, like dealing with a hazard
Right.
of this scale, I do think that people that were involved with those hazard cleanups from that nuclear power plant also were involved in this. Now, some
That would make
things-
sense.
they didn't evacuate fast enough. They didn't evacuate a wide enough area. And I think they're returning people too soon. We've all seen that video. And if you haven't, of fucking DeWine and other cabinet members drinking tap water, saying it's okay. They didn't show it getting filled up. And it was obviously like staged and awkward as fuck during the video. Like,
It wasn't tap water. That was fucking Ice Mountain that they just got out of a bottle. Let's not lie to ourselves here.
it wasn't Zephyr Hills, I'll tell you that. But
Sponsored by Nestle.
yeah. What I think is sad is what's going to end up happening. I mean, you look at in 2016, there was a train derailment in New Jersey where essentially a quarter of what happened in East Palestine was leaked vinyl chloride. And out of, I think it was like 117, anywhere from like 103 to 117 people that were interviewed, 50% of them have experienced, different types of cancers that are related to exposure of vinyl chloride.
Oh shit.
So
what did you on the last podcast, did you look up what vinyl chloride is used in? Like, what do we use it for
PVC.
Manufacturing person?
Creating
Oh,
PVC
really? Okay.
pipes, tires, a whole
list.
Vinyl chloride's used in essentially almost all rubber / plastic products, right? It's pretty.
That makes sense then.
It's pretty common.
Pretty common.
And it's transported a lot. Now, the Bureau of Transportation Statistics actually has on record 54,539 train derailments between 1990 and 2002. So that's an average of 1,700 train derailments in the United States every single year. It's so fucking common. Like the East Palestine train derailment wasn't actually the first train derailment in Ohio in 2023.
Which is insane to me. Like, this is something that should be a wake-up call to everyone, where we should definitely be getting our politicians more involved, and we need to know this. Like, it's not. I don't think it's the trawl.
No.
I don't think it's the trains. I think it's the fact.
Politicians have been involved. For example, former U.S. President Barack Obama passed legislation making it mandatory for trains carrying hazardous flammable materials to have ECP brakes. But the order was rescinded in 2017 under a Donald Trump administration.
So my thing is why was it like? Look at the money, right? Like your number one saying is follow the money.
So Donald Trump had a assault on red tape. He was really big on draining the swamp and pulling back the red tape. One of those bills were in that. So the National Transportation Safety Board has confirmed, though, that the trains that derailed in East Palestine were not equipped with the braking system that it was supposed to have. And there is actual video footage of the train that derailed 20 miles from derailment having a failed brake system. They were sparking, everything. So it was happening. Now, some people are going to blame it on the driver of the train. We all know.
But how? How do you blame that on it's a straight line and it sits on a rail, bro. Your job as a train conductor is to just make sure that you're going the right speed.
Well,
like,
you also
the problem is not the coordinator or the engineer or anything. It's our railroads. Like, there's so many videos of where the rail lines, because of erosion moving the wood underneath, because most of them we use wood still to go over top, and we lay into gravel because the trains actually will move. I mean, you've all seen it, as you said, on a railroad crossing. They'll move the rail underneath them, so it's supposed to absorb that extra energy. I get it, but like, if we have to keep up the infrastructure and working on it, like, do we need to pay the workers more? Like, so, I mean, there is a way to fix this. There is. Well, we just have to all come together.
The thing about it is, look at the U.S. in a nutshell. When it comes to transportation of goods and services, I'd say a majority of it's by air. You also have a large, when it comes,
including chemicals.
Really? No. When it comes to chemicals, when it comes to actual manufacturing goods, and the raw materials to do so, it is by ground. The problem is when you look at the US, none of it, when it comes to infrastructure, is really good. Nothing's designed properly. And that is because it does come down to a state level. You have a state level that's in charge of making sure that these systems are in good shape, making sure that, they're kept up to regulations, and states have the option to vote against that. When you look at it on the federal level, we all know what's happening on the federal level. Shit isn't getting done anyways. And nobody wants to invest in a train system. Train in every other country is the number one form of transportation for residents. Like,
exactly. And my thing that I was kind of getting at is, if we're able to put more money investments into our train systems, and we could share these railways with not just, commoners like us to be able to transport ourselves for just everyday use, but also for our goods, I feel like a lot more would get done. We'd have a higher productivity
Imagine-
on things.
so-
we have so much railway.
I've taken a train from Ohio to New Mexico. It was a great time. It was like $200 for the trip, but I also had food, everything given to me, a sleeping cabin. I didn't have to
Yep.
worry about driving. I didn't have to worry about anything.
How
I-
long was it though?
It was 3 days.
Exactly. And if we're able to update our rail systems, including update our trains themselves, because we obviously know other countries have bullet trains or just long, faster train locomotives that go on the ones we have existing, but we don't use it. We don't do that. We still stick with the same trains, and then we just change out the carts. Like
I
it's
think Americans have
asinine.
become comfortable. I think when you look at it on the grand scheme of things, when you look at it as how long humans have been on the planet, we are sitting the most comfortable we ever have
oh yeah,
in history.
absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
we have communications, we have food essentially when we need it, we have electric, we have water, shit that didn't really clean drinking water, well, except for East Palestine.
and Flint.
And well, nobody cares about Flint. That's off the news. So we're sitting pretty comfortable, and I think what's happened is all of America and a lot of other countries have become just docile. They just don't want to.
Complacent.
Complacent is the best.
word I think you're looking
Like
for.
you have inflation that continues to go up, and people are still buying non-essential goods. Even though they
Right.
shouldn't be able to, they shouldn't have, like, people care too much about their fucking social image. They're like, oh,
Here's-
I have $120 in my bank account, but they go spend $100 getting their nails done because
Here's-
they're going
here's the
to a
major
bar
problem.
and spending $15 and bumming a drink off of 7 different dudes.
Here's the problem, right? Internationally, you said it before, like most other countries use railways, right, for their means of transportation.
Yeah.
Problem here is our the way we set up everything was around the automotive industry. So like every American loves their car. We love our vehicles. We love driving. We've spent a lot of money in our wide infrastructure basing it off of automobiles. To then backtrack and then go back to trains, a lot of people in legislative think it'll be more costly. And I think that's bullshit. I'm sorry. Like if there's already been in place, I think it was when I was in 2010 was the bullet train bill to go from Cleveland to Cincinnati. It would go Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati. And it was approved. They have yet to start on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to think about it too on the sense of who owns the land. Are you going to be putting a new speed rail system on and having to pull out the public domain or
Right.
in eminent domain on people's properties? There is going to be, when it comes to the legal landfall of getting shit like that done, I couldn't imagine taking on a task like that, and I'm not. And I have no, and I think it's quite evident if you've ever listened to this podcast. 95% of the shit we say sounds pretty confident. We have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
No one does.
But it makes sense how fucking hard it would be to get that shit done. But dude, it
And
needs
it
to
makes-
happen. Right now, you're poisoning. The United States itself is doing a really good job at really fucking itself in the future.
Right.
Where all we give a fuck about is the here and now. We don't think about repercussions that are going to come into the future. And the problem is what I just said there. A good 50% of the United States would be like, you're a fucking sheep. You're going to be, you're a fucking liberal tard. You're a communist bastard. That the problem is 50% of the people do not care about the fucking future. And they're beating people
It's
up.
here and now.
They're beating people up over a few cents that they're going to be making off of something like this. And the divide that's in this country is fucking stupid. On a lighter note,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Like you were talking about, there's a lot of red tape, right? And the idea of going around these farmlands, because like I know right now there is a petition. Right now there's an idea to connect 42 to 23, and a lot of farmers are pissed because it would go through their land. Here's the thing that people don't realize: if farmers would read into the bill, they would realize that the government is going to be doubling the price per acreage. So if you would sell off your acre of land, this is how much you would get it for right now on the market. Ohio will double that for it to put a road system. If I was a farmer, and it is hard right now with the price of pesticides, the price of
Fertilizer.
your seeds, the price of keeping up the maintenance on your vehicles.
Fertilizer.
This is a great way to make fertilizer, a great way to make some extra cash as a farmer, and it's not taking up that much room. If you've looked at it, it's slivers of land on multiple different properties, and you still have a vast majority of yours to go. So I mean, I'd take the buyout. Like you said, they're going to do eminent domain at some point. You might as well take the buyout. You really might as. You might as well do it. You're going to at least make some money out of it.
Also, what the fuck are you keeping it for? The next generation to stay at that house, and eventually that house continues to fall apart, and you live on a fucking 300-year-old farm that nobody's taking care of because they become complacent over time. What the fuck are you doing? I hate and when I was talking about that white person mentality, that is what I mean by old people. Old people are so
They don't like
fucking
change.
comfortable in their ways. They're not willing to accept change, and they're destroying the country. And they have destroyed the country. I think in the next 10 years, there's going to be a decent change in things. And I think the United States in the next 10 years, and it's going to be a rough 10 years, but I think by the time 2032, 3 starts rolling around, I think it will be in a pretty good area. I think the country is going to be flourishing. Other countries are going to have it really fucking rough.
Right.
But
And I get the understanding as a small town, like, you know, this is my land, this was my grandfather. I get the love. I understand the attachment. I do. As someone that's grown up in, you know, considered small town USA or a flyover state, like, I understand how you feel. I get it. You don't want to have this change.
that's
You
not the
don't
world
want-
anymore, though.
It's not. I get it. But I'm playing devil's advocate in a sense.
Yeah.
I understand what they're seeing, but the thing is like what you said. It's just going to push it down. And our past generations, our parents, their parents, it was always, it's not our problem right now. We'll be dead by the time that ever has a thing. Well, you know what? It's getting to the point where, like,
Well, the
now
same
it's our
people,
kid.
the same people that are saying that had the life expectancy of making it to 70 max, and now modern medicine stepped in, and guess what? They're living to now be presidents and Congress members. Like you have the U.S. median age, and I'm getting flustered for no reason, but you have the U.S. median age of at
cheers,
43.
then. Cheers to your flusterness.
43 fucking years old, and you've got somebody that's sitting as the chief of fucking staff that's almost twice the age, and people are like, yeah, we should have had Trump in. What the fuck? By the time Trump's able to get reelected, he would be the same age as Biden when Biden got elected for his term. Like,
We do need younger people in politics. We do.
there's been
on
a
both
few
sides.
really great fucking younger people coming through, and I
Right.
love the fact TikTok exists because I've been following a lot of them, and they're
Same.
mid 40s, great head on their shoulders, they're well spoken, they have a voice of, and as a salesperson, you will understand this. There's a difference between a boss and a leader. These people speak with the understanding of being a well-spoken leader, somebody that somebody can look at and be like, yeah, no, that's a great fucking idea.
I think the main problem is that the bureaucracy, right?
Yeah.
They get there and they realize almost like their hands are tied.
The people,
It's like, honestly, that's why I think that
They are-
no one's happy with presidents, right?
Those
No one's
people-
happy because when hold on, no one's happy when they get there, or no one's happy with the president because when they get there, they kind of realize, shit, there's not much I can do. This is here's these lines. Like even Trump, right? And his followers were all about him, all head over heel. He's not a politician. He's gonna do something different. And I'm sorry, he got there and did the same thing. He backtracked on the stuff he was wanting to do, because once you actually make it to that office, you find out the information that us common peasants aren't allowed to know, and you realize, fuck, I can't change this. I have to keep rolling with it. And I think there's a lot of aspects in modern life now, whether it be, you know, in the medical field, a lot of doctors, they want to change the world. They want to heal. They want to fix everything. They want to be engineering new ways to help people. And then they get there and they realize,
the red tape.
I can't change this system. The system is here. I have to either adapt or leave.
I think we've got the name of this episode.
What is that?
Red tape.
I dig it. I can dig that. Yeah, red tape. Well, then speaking of red tape, while we have some time, and we're going to get into Splurspiracy a little bit, this red tape. So, U.S. shot down 3 UFOs and can't find them?
Oh yeah. That also happened while you were gone. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
We already know one of them was reported by mom and pop shop, science shop that fucking had a weather balloon up there. They didn't report it, and they're like, our balloon's missing. So I think one of them was a fucking $500 weather balloon.
Right, and I saw that one, but that's not the one I was referring to.
Right.
The one I'm referring to is the one that was able to go Mach 15, and we supposedly, the fighter pilot on radio, or not radio, over comms, said it's down, it's down, it's down, gave the direct location. We sent in our guys to go get this craft. They see the crater, the crash site, and there is no craft.
Yeah, no,
That happened
that's
twice.
that's pretty fucking weird. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So all of this also happened though while the list of Jeffrey Epstein got released.
Right, and I have the list. I have it. I saved it.
Did
So
you
it
really?
wouldn't get deleted. I downloaded it.
Oh.
Listen to this. 168 pages I have.
Send it to me. We're gonna talk about that next week.
Yeah. 168 pages.
Let's extrapolate some data using AI. Yeah.
I'm down.
All
I'm
right.
absolutely
Let's
down
do
for
that.
that. But I do have to warn all of our listeners, because it hurt me when I started going through some of this stuff. There is a lot of celebrities that are on that list. I mean, a lot. And not just like, oh, he went one time. No, I mean like 10, 12, 15 times they went to this island.
But Paul,
I think
it's
more
because
is
they
gonna
had
come out.
they had really good food.
Oh, is that it? They had great food.
It's an
Jeffrey
island.
took care of them.
Yeah.
But we went past that bitch in the Virgin Islands. I was down there.
Oh, I'm
You have
sure
to
some
realize
of
that's
them
where
were.
it was at.
I'm sure some of them were virgins when they got there.
Oh no! Oh no!
Anyways, that's a rough one. Fuck.
I tried to look. So you know how he has a Babylonian temple on his private island?
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
I was looking for that bitch. I was like, we're on the ship. I was like, I'm just trying to find it. Like, this is where they sacrifice babies and drink their blood to stay young.
Ooh, yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, another thing that was interesting, 11 days before or 11 days after the train derailment, the CDC changed the effects, like the what do you call that? The MSDS, the material safety data
Yes.
sheet of vinyl
Yeah,
chloride.
I saw that.
11 days
Yep.
after the train derailment.
Isn't it?
And they
funny,
hadn't
though?
changed it for over 20 years.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how that happens when there's always a disaster? Whether it be insurance takes a new claim, wink, wink, 9/11, or our new CDC regulations change, 11 days later something happens, or definition of a drug changes and then the new release. Like, there's so many times throughout US history where it's like something has changed, so many days later something happens, and again, everyone's sitting back going like, coincidence? No, like,
There's definitely something bigger going on, and a lot of people that I also experience on TikTok were like, oh, so you're one of those conspiracy nuts. No, like, yes
we
and
just
no.
talk about conspiracy in a more opened, wide mind, because like, I hate the word conspiracy. I really do, and I get it. If you look by definition standards, when you're going for conspiracy, it's in order to attempt to do harm or political justice, right? So like, that's the problem with today when everyone's like, because the terminology came from JFK, right? That's
Right.
the original ideology of conspiracy, was JFK's assassination. I don't believe in the word conspiracy I believe in the word theory. Everything's a theory. Everyone's has a theory. Now, whether or not yours is right or wrong,
So
it's a theory. We don't know. There is not enough evidence that we have put together and compiled to say this is factual.
for example, when it comes to me, the reason why I've now been watching what I've been saying for the most part is the Cumtown situation. I don't know if you remember that one, Paul. I fell for the Cumtown, Alaska, and I was confident in how I was saying the UFO was shot over Cumtown, Alaska, on 420,
Okay, well-
69 or 69
Yeah,
days
I get
before
it.
420. Yeah. So I think what's making a lot of these conspiracies is you have unfound facts or not facts being put out there at a record speed, and the information is able to be gathered at a record
Right.
speed, and it's not being
Right.
verified, and people like me get excited and talk about it. Now I
Right.
still get excited and talk about it, but I now put a disclaimer on it.
Agreed. But the problem is like we've talked before, is like these echo chambers. Information, whether it be factual or manipulated, is able to get thrown around the internet. I mean, if you want to find your niche and what you like, it's not hard. Even on TikTok, as you of all people know, if you start clicking a certain niche or genre, your feed
Oh,
is changed
yeah. We talked
instantly.
Did I talk about that last week?
No. That's just between me and you. Connery has a thing for funny videos. We'll just say it that way.
No, I talked about
Funny
it last
videos.
week. My TikTok algorithm on Drunk Discussion. So we have a Drunk Discussions TikTok page where I post videos from the podcast, but I also do my own like back end research and I talk about it.
Right.
And I put a video out there with images and shit like that before we talk about it. So the train derailment one's been massive because there's continuation of data coming out on not only in our country, but other countries. And I love looking at those other countries' reports because they give you
Right.
really good insight of what may not be covered here in the United States. It's sort of like
With the Russian guy that we talked about
Exactly.
on that one
oh,
podcast.
that video. I posted that video. The people that came in were like, no, all the Ukrainians are Nazis. I'm like, oh, hold on. That's like saying all the U.S. is Nazis. There's some neo-Nazis here. Let's be
See,
honest. But
Here's my thing, right? With
Not
that,
all.
Can we take a step further? I have friends, right, that say the same thing, and it irritates me because, like, I don't believe the ideology of Nazism, especially with the Ukrainian people, especially since I've met people from Ukraine. I follow them, people on social media that live there. I do not believe they are Nazis. I don't think that, how do you say the president's name? Zerginsky, whatever his name is, a Nazi. He's not on
he's an actor.
television constantly. I get he's an actor, but he's not spewing hate propaganda. Like, it was a
isn't.
form of fascism that people don't realize. Nazis were a form of fascism, even though they were on our socialist banner. And like, they're not sitting here like constantly blaming just the Russians. They're blaming Putin. They're blaming one soul. Like, he's blaming Putin for this. It's not like, oh, it's the Russians, these pigs, these filthy degenerates, blah blah blah. Hate them, go to the street. Like, it's not that way. And the thing is like Russia and more and more Zelensky, yeah, more and more looking more like a communist state. Like, what happened to the America that hated communism just as much as fascism?
I mean, communism in itself. Look, I do not agree. Oh man, this is going to be a rough one for Connery. I do.
Yeah, it is.
I do
You
not.
fucking commie sympathizer.
I do not agree with the ideology of Nazism. I do
No,
not
no one
agree
does.
with socialism. At the standstill that I'm at right now, I'm starting to disagree with a democratic system because
But
it's
we're not in one. So
we're in a
it's fine.
failed democratic system.
We're not a democrat. We're not a democracy. We're a constitutional republic.
Yeah.
People forget that. This is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. There is a difference. We are not ancient Greece, people.
Yeah. Well,
I'll say it
anyways,
again. We have it. Like,
the idea though of sharing without having a one person holding the pot,
it never happens.
It
We've never
won't
had
happen.
that system. It doesn't exist.
it works.
Greed is too strong
It
in
works.
this world.
It works really well on a small scale.
It worked. No, it's never even worked on a small scale.
It
actually,
could
fun
work
fact.
really
It
well on a
only
small scale.
No, we have had multiple people try it. It looks amazing on paper. It looks like it is
does.
the end all be all fix all. And capitalism looks like the greediest, terrible, most awful thing in the world.
Let me ask
And it
you
is.
this.
And hold on, I'll quote Winston Churchill for it. Is capitalism is terrible. It's, I don't know his exact words, but he said that it was an awful form of government, but it is the best one we have found so far.
I just had what could be a profound thought, but
Okay, what is
I
this
am
profound
tipsy.
thought?
So as
It has a way of doing that.
as automation and artificial intelligence continues at the pace that it is, do you think
this talk again?
do you think it will for example, let's throw an example out there. Communism hasn't worked in the past because not everyone wants to work. Now,
Agreed.
there are people that genuinely enjoy working, and they have nonprofit organizations, for example. They do the work without anything in, air quote, nonprofit, like the fucking Cancer Foundation. Look, I'm all for giving to the purple ribbon or pink ribbon. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
but
they profit a lot of fucking
Our
money.
presidents shouldn't be paid
Yeah. No.
$20 billion or $20 million, but like whatever.
So, anyways, back to it. Say it does get to a point that artificial intelligence gets to a point that it can continue doing things itself, manufacturing of goods continue to happen, automation works. Well, you're
Wait
telling
online.
me 50% of the country won't need to work anymore, right? I think
right.
the idea of on paper could work. Because if you
Then who's in
have,
charge?
what if it doesn't need to be anymore? Because something else is handling it for you. Now that's a black.
Skynet. You want Skynet? You want AI to control all of us? Just be like, you know what, guys?
You're starting to
You just
sound like a
enjoy-
boomer, Paul.
Just sit back, relax. The AI is gonna take care of it all. Like the only time, again, this is another reason I strive for you to get into Star Trek. I know you're gonna make fun of me, but when the way Star Trek was able to
Be
throw
perfect.
in ahead of its time different ideology on different planets or including in the Federation, it's awesome because like when you get to that level of technology where objects or material things could be created in an instant, there isn't need for currency. There isn't currency in Star Trek. Like you can print anything, you can make food, you can make your guitar, you can make my PC, you can make anything. And until we get to that level of technology, which is well past us being alive. I'm sorry. I know you said like, oh, automation is gonna hit strives in the next 15 years. Like, I work in automation, bro. It's not.
No,
It's not.
I think it will, and because once you have
Not in 15 years.
Yeah,
not
but
in 15 years.
Okay, look at the front end. Who the fuck is designing this? Humans.
Us. Yeah.
Exactly. Once you start getting to the point that humans aren't the people designing these systems and this automation anymore, and they're able to design the systems to build the automations, you take out the human error, you take out the human greed factor, you take out all of these different things, and you're like, okay,
The red tape.
I've now got an automation that will go mine the product, manufacture the product, deliver the product, right? Everything from beginning to end is now automated with artificial intelligence and machines. You take out the human factor. You've got robots fixing robots. Now, that's way longer than 15 years. That's probably at the rate that we're going, probably 90 years from now. We're going to be dead.
Agreed. 100. Yeah.
I do see a different government being able to be put into place because
Right. And I can see that, but I don't think it's the ones we've come up now. I don't
No.
think it's socialism. I don't think it's communism. I don't think it's capitalism. It's a whole new one that we might be able to strive for.
AIism.
That we have no concept. AIism.
AIism.
AIism. Yeah, that's it. AI.
Hold on.
Allen
Hold
Iversonism.
on.
Allen Iversonism.
Hold on. Hey Siri, remember to remind me to make a T-shirt that says AIism for merch. Dude, that's fucking
That's
gold.
great.
AIism, the new government.
Yeah. But I mean, the problem with it, right? And we've talked about AI before.
I'm gonna trademark that shit.
especially-
Don't fucking take it, you listeners.
We just have a long way to go because we almost have to build a human effect into our AI, right? Because if you don't, like, there could be consequences. We've had 2 AIs created by 2 different entities or 2 different corporations learn to talk to one another. And when the corporations found out, like, hey, they're talking to each other and we have no idea what they're talking about, they shut it down. So it has to be controlled to a limit, right? But if AI is able to be controlled, who's really the one running it?
Well, to be fair, if you're the
To
person
be
that
fair,
if you're the person that invented this process and you don't have any say in how people are controlled, who fucking cares if you have it doesn't even matter at that point anymore. The issue of greed ceases to exist in that situation because one day we may be in a world where it doesn't matter how much you have because you can have whatever you want to have. You want to
which
fucking
would be awesome.
you want
Which
to
would be amazing. Like I said, Star Trek, same
But
ideology with it. But
regulations.
it's not happening in our time.
No, but and humans are very destructive. We're phenomenal at it. We're the best.
the best.
Our track
We're the
record is
best.
huge. We have such a great track record of destroying ourselves. I think it ain't gonna be here on Earth when that happens. You know. Now you get into the world of flat Earths, but whatever. Yeah, I don't.
No, stop it. We've done that enough.
We have. But anyways.
But the Earth is not round. I can say that.
I'd love to know people's thoughts about the future of where AI can go, where governments would go. I mean, would a government even need to exist anymore other than regulations on the environment and making sure, hey, look, you can still fucking breathe.
See,
You know?
And that's why, like, when we talked about the Galactic Federation, right? When the Israeli Prime Minister talked, like we've already been talking to them, and like people overlooked that. I find that so intriguing because like, why are we waiting? In all honesty, like if we're having hold on, if we're having all of these UFO sightings, we are at the highest peak of humans believing in extraterrestrial life. We have the lowest amount ever of people believing in modern day religion. Why is it now like this is all happening? There has to be something that is occurring for them to have more sightings. And if so, and this federation actually exists, why the fuck aren't we getting on this? They have way more technology and they have different forms probably of government that we could try to learn from and see if it'll work in our normal society.
You make a great point with everything that's going on with, and you look at the younger generations younger than us. When it comes to religion, it's the lowest it's ever been.
I know it's declining every year. It makes me proud a little bit.
Yeah.
Sorry to you guys that are about that, but to each his own.
Yeah, whatever. So which points a great point to one of our listeners who's in chat right now. The change of where I was talking about can't be successful. Peg all men. Ow.
Giggity.
Yeah, well, maybe you could be into that. It can't be successful without 100 years of resocialization, which is why we
Agreed.
should start now. And I think that's a phenomenal point.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, give it 10 years for that group of people to,
But again, if you're giving an absolute power to an entity, even with socialization, all that's going to do is be re-socialized to what that entity wants.
Well,
We have to take out that factor. And the idea of taking out of a controlling factor, whether it be, a government or a singular person or whatever, we have no concept for that right now. That concept is new to us. It's not non-existent. We haven't thought of that. And if we're trying to put our re-socialization into what forms we have now, it can be extremely dangerous.
yeah, and I'm kind of with you on that sense because it is still in the childbearing phase, right? So if you give a
Agreed.
kid a gun and it doesn't know how to use a gun, it'll probably end up shooting itself in the mouth because that's where it's going to put the gun. Look, have a kid, they'll stick anything in their mouth when they're fucking, oh my God. She's at the age now, Paul, where she's literally just grabbing shit and she's like, I'm either going to hit myself in the head with it or fucking chew
It's
on
going
it.
in the mouth.
Yeah, anyways.
She's like a puppy. It's like a new puppy, right?
is.
It just wants to chew on everything.
She's walking around the house now, dude. Not like by herself. She's in a walker and it takes her like 10 minutes, but she'll walk around our couch and stuff. It's dangerous.
adorable. I can't wait to come visit.
Dude, she's awesome. Anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for listening to Drunk Discussions podcast. Paul, I'm so happy you're back.
I'm happy I'm back.
I felt incomplete without you. Like, don't get me wrong. Colin, Logan, I love you guys. This is Paul. This
This is our baby.
This is our baby. Guys, again, thank you so much for listening to Drunk Discussions podcast. You can find us every single Monday wherever podcasts can be found. Be sure to chime in every single Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch. You can find us at twitch.tv/Drunk Discussions, or you can shoot us an email over at drunkscussioncrew or drunkscussion.crew@gmail.com. We'll eventually get a proper email for that, but right now.
Also, guys, go ahead and take a look at our new merchandise. I just ordered some. I'm excited to wear it. It is so much cooler, way better brands, nicer materials, and a reasonably cheaper price. So go ahead, grab some of that merch up because all that's doing is helping this podcast grow along with you guys. So we love everything that you do, and we are growing constantly every single month at a crazy rate, and it's all thanks to you guys.
Hey, look, we love you guys. With all that said, peace.
Peace.
All right. I'm gonna stay on live real quick, but
That's fine. Stay on Hi live.
hi live. Pull Craig out. All right. What do you got going on tonight, buddy?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'll probably play some games. Maybe I don't know. I thought I had something planned for tonight, but I don't remember.
Well, I'm gonna probably end this stream and then here. Hold on a second. Let me, for the people that are still here. Hold on a second. There we go.
Oh, we want to have Jake on next week.
Fuck yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I love Jake. He the best.
Our listeners too. Our listeners love him too.
For people that are still in the chat, Jake's pretty cool to have on. Great fucking chat. He puts in some pretty good information.
Right. And actually, for our listeners that are still on here, if you have a PC and you have a microphone or a headset and a good camera, you're more than welcome to shoot us a message and be like, hey, I'm a huge fan. This is what I work with or do. And we can always work around you and try to use you as a guest to come on, especially if you're a huge fan of the podcast. Just let us know, and we can always do a trial run with you, see how it goes, and you might be allowed to be a guest on Drunk Discussions. And that goes for anyone worldwide, since we are worldwide.
Correct. Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
We do have, I do have some environmental scientists that
Same.
don't have computers, though, is the problem that I'm
I have
running
one
into.
that does.
And one of them's my family member, and I've been picking her brain about the train derailment, and that's why I've got so much information.
So one that we've been talking to for a while now, Erica, she's in that, and she's been wanting to come in here and do it with us. But I was like, I can set you up. She has a computer. I was like, I'll set you up with a mic and a camera, and we can do it that way too. So,
Jake?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Jake's Erica.
Girlfriend, fiance, or girlfriend or whatever. Yeah.
Huh.
That's what she is. She's an environmental science. She works actually in testing of water and like for chemicals and shit. So I was like,
This is like the most exciting fucking month of her education or
Oh,
her career.
and she's on a cruise right now. It's that time, man. Gotta go cruising.
God damn. You
Late
guys,
February.
you know what? I'm a water scientist. Fuck the water.
Fuck it.
I'm going on a cruise. Fucking hell.
Hey, I thought it was hilarious. I literally was on this cruise. People were like, where are you from? I'm like, Ohio. They're like, oh, you had to get out, didn't you? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't hear about the explosion? And then that's when, because I had no internet.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't pay for the package because I listened to someone, mom. Either way, I didn't have the package and I didn't have internet. So only when I hit St. Thomas, where I finally had
Your Snapchat
data,
blew up.
insanity.
I post
Absolutely anarchy.
So every single TikTok I make, I send it to Paul before I post it. But since he was out, I just fucking posted them all. And he's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Oh my God. I was like, there's 100,000 people liking our shit.
Yeah, I was like, no, people are dying, dude. Hey, it ain't good. Shit.
Oh,
Fuck.
that's a good one. But we're excited. I actually have something in the works for next week as well. I'm gonna talk to Connor and everything. I think you guys are gonna like it. And I think we're also working on some more merchandise giveaway.
Yeah, no, we are. We got to get to. What
What are we at now?
37 followers on Twitch.
Our Twitch is the lowest following rating
Out of
that's
everything
weak.
right now.
Guys, we got to step this up. Tell your friends, family to join us during the lives, to follow us on Twitch.
Look, you
And
don't
then,
even have
again,
to
if
watch
they're
us.
within,
Just follow.
if you're within that first 100, you're entered in a raffle to win free shit.
Make some
What's
fake
better
accounts.
than free shit?
Make some fake accounts. Subscribe. That way your odds go up.
He didn't say that.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't say that. No, I want legitimate followers. Look, we've got a really fucking good following on Spotify and Google Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts
And
is
Google
good too, but
Podcasts.
Google surprised me.
Yeah, it's
I
growing.
didn't know people actually use
I
that.
think we're
phone.
at a steady 20% growth rate right now on Spotify.
Each episode it
25%.
grows up quite a bit. We're averaging like 11% growth on each episode, which is fucking tits. I think
Yeah.
TikTok actually has been playing a big part into that too. But
So
I'm gonna go ahead,
follow us on all those.
take a deuce, and
Let's
you gonna
end
be,
this live, and
Yeah, you're gonna be on tonight.
I'm gonna be on right now. So go take your shit, and guys, love you all.
Bye
Peace.
bye, love you.